Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, viewers. I'm your teacher, Msonda Mwamba, and I'm going to take you in Integrated Science, grade 7. Okay. So at today's lesson, we're going to look at health, and under health, we're going to look at the disease. Okay. So first of all, we need to understand what a disease is. Okay. So a disease, and other ways we can say, is an illness, sickness, or unwellness. Okay. So here we can say a disease is just illness, sickness, or unwellness. Okay, why have I said a disease is an illness, sickness, or unwellness? Okay, unwellness. So if you look at this disease, it causes an disorder to the body functions. So when you have a disease, that means the body, the way it functions, it stops functioning the way it's supposed to function. Okay. So there are some things, again, the factors that can cause this same disease. Okay. What are those factors or things that can cause this disease? Okay. So we have two things that can cause this disease. Okay. Number one, we have the virus. Okay, we also have the bacteria. Okay, so these two things, virus and the bacteria, they are organisms. So these organisms are the one that can cause a disease. Okay, now how do they cause a disease? Okay, so before we look at how these virus and bacteria cause a disease, first of all, we are going to look at the appearance of these same two things, virus and the bacteria. Okay, these are things, virus and the bacteria, they are small organisms, and this same organism, you cannot see them using with our naked eyes. Okay, now how can we see these are small organisms? Okay, these small organisms, we can only see them when we happen to use a powerful microscope. Okay, so for us to see these organisms, okay, so for us to see these organisms, we need to use very powerful microscope. Okay, so this powerful microscope is the only instrument that we can use to see this bacteria, virus and the bacteria. Remember I said a bacteria and a virus, they are very small organisms. We cannot see them using our naked eyes. Okay, so these both viruses and bacteria cause a disease. A disease in human, animals, and plants. Okay, so it's not only in human beings where there are diseases. Okay, in animals there are diseases. Plants, they also have diseases. Okay, you may find sometimes that the plant is not growing well, or it's not growing the way it's supposed to grow. It's because of what? The diseases that has attacked that plant. Okay, even in human beings, we give an example as people. We also have diseases. Sometimes you can happen to feel like a fever. Okay, for you to feel that fever, that means there is a disorder in the way the body functions. Okay, so that's why you find that the body happens to develop a fever. It's because of this same disease. Okay, and that disease is caused by either a virus or the bacteria. Okay, so we need to understand how these same disease these bacteria, how they cause a disease. Okay, so we need to know the characteristics of this a virus and the bacteria. Okay, so we're going to look at we start with the characteristics of a virus. Okay, what are the characteristics of a virus? Okay, so we're going to look at characteristics of the virus. Characteristics of a virus. Okay, so what are the characteristics of a virus? Okay, so we will say a virus is a small smaller than a bacteria. Okay, so why have I said a virus is smaller than a bacteria? Okay, if you have said a virus is smaller than a bacteria, but you cannot see a virus with our naked eyes. Okay, we can only see how smaller it is when we happen to use a powerful microscope. Okay, so a virus is smaller than what? A bacteria. Okay, we also have another characteristic of the virus. A virus is a simple organism. Okay, so a virus is a simple organism. Okay, so these viruses, they happen to look simple but deadly. Okay, so it may be smaller, but when it affects the body cannot survive. Okay, so we also have another characteristics of a virus. Okay, they need they need to live in other organisms. Organisms, I'll put a bracket called the host. Okay, so for these viruses, they need to live in another or in other organisms called the host, because they cannot exist on their own. So for these viruses to exist, they need another organism called the host. So in that host, that's where you find that they develop, and again, these viruses, they reproduce rapidly. Okay, they reproduce rapidly, and that's why they affect the body. So I'll give an example of a disease which has affected people at this time. Okay, the reason why coronavirus has affected people is because the virus is the way it is. The characteristics of a virus, they produce rapidly, or they produce faster than the bacteria. Okay, so they cannot exist on their own, but they need another organism for them to exist. Okay, so let's look at another characteristics of this virus. Okay, so we also have another characteristics of a virus. Viruses are difficult to control. Why have I said they're difficult to control? As they reproduce rapidly. Okay, so that's why we have no cure for these viruses. Reason, they reproduce fast or rapidly. That's why you find that when this virus attack the body, it becomes difficult to control them because they produce faster. And when they produce faster, that means they move. They also move faster in the body, and that's why they affect the body badly. It's because of the way they are characteristics. They move faster than any other organism which can affect the body. Okay, so these viruses has no cure. Okay, so there is no cure. So that's why this coronavirus it has become very difficult to control it because of the characteristics of these viruses. They produce faster than any other organism. Okay, so we have talked about two things or two organisms that cause a disease. We said the virus and the bacteria. Okay, so one, we have talked about the characteristics of a virus. One, we said a virus is smaller than a bacteria. We also said a virus is a simple organism. Okay, although it's a simple organism, you cannot see it using naked eyes. You can only see a virus using a microscope, and that microscope, it needs to be stronger so that you can able to see how smaller it is. Okay, remember these microscopes, they magnify. Okay, they increase the size of an object. So when you happen to put a virus in place of a microscope, you'll be able to see how a virus look like. Okay. We also said they need to live in other organisms, okay, called the host. Okay. So when these viruses live in another organisms, you find that that's when they happen to develop and reproduce other organisms called the viruses. Okay. So these viruses, they live in other organisms called the host because they cannot exist on their own. Viruses cannot exist on their own unless there is a host where they can start reproducing. Okay. We also said viruses are difficult to control as they produce rapidly. Okay. So something that is it produces faster is very difficult to control it. Okay. Remember, that's why even these viruses, the same coronavirus, the disease which has come, which is affecting a lot of people, is because they reproduce faster and it has no cure. Okay. So now we're going to look at another organism which causes diseases. Okay. So another organism which causes diseases, we have the bacteria. Okay. So we're going to look at again the bacteria, the characteristics of a bacteria, the way the bacteria behave when it is in the body of an animal, plants, or us human beings. Okay. So we are going to look at again the characteristics of a bacteria. Okay, so a bacteria, characteristics of a bacteria. Okay, so what are the characteristics of a bacteria? Okay, so we're going to look at the characteristics of a bacteria. So one, a bacteria is bigger than a virus. Okay. So I'm saying a bacteria is bigger than a virus. Okay. So if this bacteria is bigger than a virus, you cannot see it using your naked eyes. Okay. You can only see a bacteria using a powerful microscope. Okay. Remember I said a microscope, the way it works, it magnifies or it enlarges the size of an object. Okay. So for you to see that bacteria, you use a microscope. That's when you can able to see how the bacteria look like. Okay. So we also have another characteristic of this same bacteria. Okay. A bacteria, or we say bacteria, a single code organism, a single code organism. Reason why we are saying a single code organisms, because they only have one cell. Okay. So these are bacteria. a single celled organism and they only have one celled. A single celled organism and they only have one cell. Okay, sorry for a simple mistake. Okay, so we say the bacteria are single celled organisms and they only have one cell. Okay, why have I said they only have one cell? Okay, they normally found in a large clumps or chains. Okay, so these are normally found in a large clumps or chains. Okay, so these are different from viruses. Okay, these they only have a single celled called organisms and they only have a one cell. Okay, so we also have another characteristic of a bacteria. Okay, so that the other characteristic of a bacteria, we say bacteria most reproduce by single cell division. Okay, so the way they produce, the way these bacteria are reproduced and the way viruses are reproduced are different. Okay, these they don't reproduce rapid like the viruses. They are only produced by a single cell division. Okay, so again, when we look at these bacteria, the difference which is there, these are in large clumps or chains because we said these are bigger than the viruses. Viruses are smaller than these bacteria because these are only in clumps or chains. Okay, and they are only produced by a single cell division. Okay, so let's look at another point for characteristics of bacteria. So these antibiotics, drugs can be or can help, or you can say can help or can be used, or just say can help to control bacteria. Okay, so in other words, we can say bacteria can be controlled. So the diseases that are caused by bacteria can be cured. Okay, I'll give an example of diseases that can be caused by a bacteria. Okay, one, we have a malaria. Okay, when someone has a malaria, when you go to the clinic or a hospital, you'll be given antibiotics. those antibiotics, they cure that malaria, because diseases that are caused by bacteria are cured, but diseases again that are caused by a virus has no cure. Okay, so you should know that diseases that are caused by a virus. I will also give an example of a disease that is caused by a virus. Okay, remember we have different diseases that are caused by a virus. It's not only coronavirus that I gave an example earlier on. We also have the HIV and AIDS. Okay, remember that HIV and AIDS, it has been for a long time and no one has been cured of HIV and AIDS. This one, diseases that are caused by a virus has no cure. That's why you find that they just give the medications, for example, the ARVs, that will help to boost the immune system of the body. Okay, so diseases that are caused by a virus has no cure, but diseases that are caused by a bacteria has cure. Okay, so when someone has a disease which is caused by the bacteria, it will be cured, but a virus, no cure. Okay, there are only preventions that can help to reduce, but not to cure it, but to reduce the impact that the same bacteria can cause in the body. Okay, so this time that's why we are finding that they are giving some medications that can help the body to fight that same virus as it is in the body. Okay, so that it cannot damage the whole body. Okay, so because when it is in the body, the virus, when it is in the body, it produces rapidly. As a result, as it is produced rapidly, it will affect many parts of the body. For example, we talk about this same coronavirus. When it has entered in the body and there's no any cure or any medication which is there given to that person, it kills. Okay, but when there's some medication that is given to that person, it boosts the immune system so that the same body can be able to fight those same viruses as they are in the body. Okay, so with me here, I have questions that I'm going to leave you with so that you can answer at your own spare time. Okay, so remember we are talking about the virus and the bacteria and the characteristics of a bacteria and a virus. Okay, and those questions that I'm going to give you, they will be based from the same discussion that we are discussing. Okay, so I'm going to give you only 4 questions. Okay, so it's just an activity. You're going to work at your own spare time. Okay. Okay, so the first question, number 1, make a note of the similarities and differences. So number 2, list 2 similarities between viruses and bacteria. Number 3, name 2 ways how, okay, space is too small, how to control the spread of bacteria. Last one, number 4, give 2 diseases caused by the two types of germs below. So one, which is A, we have virus, and B, we have bacteria. Okay, so the first one, you're going to make a note of the similarities and the differences of a bacteria and the virus. Okay, number 2, we are going to list the 2 similarities between the virus and the bacteria. Number 3, we are going to name 2 ways how to control the spread of a bacteria. Okay, the last one, which is number 4, we are going to give 2 diseases caused by the 2 types of germs below, which is A, the virus, and B, the bacteria. Okay, thank you for your time. I'm your teacher, Msonda Mwamba. Thank you. See you next time.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at the algebraic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at the algebraic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at the algebraic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at the algebraic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at the algebraic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at the algebraic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at the algebraic expression.
So today we're going to look at pronouns, and before we go deep into pronouns, first of all we have to ask ourselves, because there's pro, then there's nouns there. I'm sure most of us, we know what a noun is. We know that a noun is a word that names a person, a place, or a thing. Okay? So we have to know what a pronoun is. So a pronoun is a word that takes place of a noun. A pronoun is a word that takes place of a noun. Okay. So there are different kinds of pronouns. There are different kinds of pronouns. So we've got personal pronouns. We've got personal pronouns. So personal pronouns may be used as pronouns may be used as subject of a verb, or object of a verb. Okay, so we're going to look at subject pronouns. We're going to look at subject pronouns. So the subject of a verb does the action. Okay? The subject of a verb does the action of the verb. Okay, so we're going to look at a few examples, or I'll just write them. The definition of that. So we'll say the subject of a verb does the action of the verb. Okay, so the personal pronouns like I, you, he, she, it, we, and they. Okay, can or be used as the subject. as the subject of a verb. Okay, so what I'm saying, the personal pronouns I, you, he, she, it, we, and they can all be used as the subject of a verb. Okay, just okay, so we're going to look at the following sentence. Lisa likes cats. Full stop. She has 4 cats. Okay, so here there are 2 sentences. There's Lisa likes cats, full stop. She has 4 cats. That's another sentence. So we see that in our first sentence, this is a proper noun. Okay, the proper noun Lisa is the subject verb of likes. Okay, in our first sentence, the proper noun Lisa is the subject noun of the word of likes. Okay, then in our second sentence, this is a proper noun. Okay, since we said that a proper noun is a word that takes place of a noun, this is our proper noun. So this proper noun has taken place of this noun. Okay, so this proper noun she is the subject. The subject verb is has. Okay, she is the subject verb of has. Okay, so we'll just look at a few sentences, a pair of sentences that show personal pronouns used as subject verbs. Okay, so I'll just write examples. Okay, so I'll start with the first one and say, my father works hard. He works in a factory. Okay, so here we see in our first example that my father, okay, which is a noun, common noun, okay, is the subject verb of works. Okay, then here he, okay, is also a subject verb of the word works in that sentence. Okay, I'll give you another example. My sister is older than me. My sister is older than me. She is 12 she is 12. Okay, so my sister, the subject verb is. Okay, there she, the subject verb is in that sentence. Okay, we'll move on to other examples. You say our dog is very naughty. It likes to chase. Cats. Okay, so even there in our sentence, this is our noun, common noun. Okay, and the subject verb of this common noun is. Then, since we said that a proper noun takes place of a noun, so this, the proper noun is that. Okay, and the subject verb for this is likes. Okay, so we move on to object pronouns. Object pronouns. So the object pronoun of a verb receives the action of the verb. Okay, the object pronoun, the object of a verb receives the action of the verb. So the personal pronouns are me, you, him, her, it, us, and them. Okay, so all these that I've listed here can be used as object of the verb. So we're going to look at the following sentences, two sentences. So, say Lisa likes cats again. Full stop. She likes to stroke them. Okay, so we see in our first sentence, this is our first sentence. In our first sentence, the noun cats is the object verb of likes. Okay, the noun cats is the object verb of likes. And in our second sentence, this is our second sentence, which is this one. Our object verb in our second sentence is them. Okay, them is the object sentence of the word what? Stroke. Okay, so these are the object verb comes after the verb. Okay, so look at a few examples. I am doing my homework. Is helping me. Okay, so here our object verb is homework. Okay, and the verb is what? Doing. Then in our second sentence, our object verb is me. Okay, that is our object verb. So look at example number 2. Goodbye. Goodbye, children. I will call you. Goodbye, children. I will call you later. Okay, so here, insert in this sentence here, our object is verb there, which is receiving this action, goodbye. Okay, and here our object verb is later. Okay, so look at example number 3. Where is John? I need to speak to him. Okay, here our object is John there. Okay, the noun John, okay, is the object verb of is. Okay, and there him is the object verb of speak in that sentence. Okay, we move on. Okay, so I'm going to write just a few homework exercise just to see that people are understanding. You can rub. Okay, so in our homework exercise, we are going to underline the object and the subject in the following sentences. So I've given you these sentences. You underline the object, verb, and the subject verb in the following sentences that I've given you. I could have given you more, but I think these questions are enough for you to write. And I hope people are writing and you're managing to copy down the sentences. So that's all for our lessons today on pronouns. So next time we'll look at adverbs or adjectives between the two, so that we understand the 8 parts of speech. Okay, so thank you very much for watching and listening. I hope you've been following the lessons, and I hope you've been keeping yourself safe. So until we meet again, goodbye.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.